Hey guys, I'm here today with a special PlayStation Vita video blog for you. That's right, special. I'm not including this in the numbered versions because this is kind of a release day, special. So today I'm going to be talking about each of the launch games. There are 21 retail launch games. It's a lot of retail launch games, and what I'm going to be doing is talking about each game in a minute or less. Try to cram as much information into this video as I can so that we can cover all 21 launch games. I do want to remind you that my experiences, reviews, everything I'm going to say is completely off the cuff. I have nothing written down but the titles of the games themselves. So I'm going to be speaking off of my own experience or my own knowledge. So again, don't expect Pulitzer Prize winning, poetry about Michael Jackson, The Experience, because you won't get it. You might be able to get it somewhere else, but you won't be able to get it here on my channel. Anyway, this is actually perfect timing today to make this video because when I woke up this morning, I saw that Amazon.com in the US is doing a buy two get one free sale on Vita games, which is pretty huge. You can save a lot of money that way. So I will put all of the links below this video down there. I will also put links to any videos that I have made for the games I'm going to be talking about. The links will be down there, so if you hear about a game and you think it sounds interesting and you haven't really seen much on it or you haven't seen my other videos on it, take a look. I have videos for a lot of these games actually, which is pretty neat. You can take a look at those and see more information about the game because again, I'm doing this very quickly. Again, with 21 games, to go in depth about every single one of them in this video would make this video way too long. So I'm not going to do that. I am going to just talk about them briefly, give a little bit of a recommendation, buy or don't buy. So again, quickly on some Amazon deals, buy two get one free on most games. Some games are not included in that, so you can take a look at the link down below to see which games are and aren't included, but a lot of the good ones are included, so I actually bid on the deal myself. I'm going to be getting a few games from the States that aren't coming out in Japan for another couple of months, so I'm going to have someone ship me those, so pretty cool. Nice to get in on the deal there, but yeah, so pretty neat. The other deal that Amazon is doing is if you buy the launch Wi-Fi version of the system for $250, you get a free 4 GB memory card, which is pretty big as well, saves you 20 bucks. Why not with release date delivery on that? So for those of you who really don't want Wi-Fi but were going for it because it had the 8 gig memory card included, through Amazon you can now get a 4 gig memory card included for free with your order when you buy them together. So I just wanted to get those deals out of the way. People ask me about deals and stuff all the time. There are a lot of deals out there. You just kind of have to know where to look. But the biggest ones, as usual, seem to be coming from Amazon. So take a look at those. Anyway, let's get right into it. Let's go ahead and talk about the 21 retail launch titles for the PlayStation Vita in the US. I will not be talking about download games today. I will talk about them in my next video blog, which will go live hopefully the day or the day after the Vita actually comes out officially in the States, which is Wednesday. So hopefully right around then I'll have another video blog for you just to talk about impressions of the launch that I've seen over here from Japan, obviously, and a bunch of stuff like that. Just try and get my impressions and talk about some download games. But for now, the 21 titles that will be assaulting you, looking at you, anywhere you go now. Well, some places you go. Many websites you go to, Amazon obviously. If you go out to retail stores, they'll see a lot of these. And you'll be wondering, what should I buy? Again, these are my opinions. They're very off the cuff. They're based mostly on play experience. However, I will say when I have not actually played a game because I haven't played every single one of these. So. Alright, well let's get started. First up, Uncharted the Golden Abyss. This is made by Bend Studios. It's not actually made by Naughty Dog, who made the rest of the other, the 3 Uncharteds on the PS3. However, it does stand up pretty well with the Uncharted formula and everything. Obviously published by Sony. Biggest caveat for this game is that it's $50 retail. However, for $50 it is a bit of a pain because, yeah, $50 for a handheld game, it is pretty insane. However, using the Amazon deal, buy two get one free, you can include it in there, so you can save some money there. I also heard that Toys R Us is selling it for $39.99, so you might want to take a look at that. For $39.99, I would say anybody who is interested in, games with good graphics, action games, adventure games, the Uncharted series in general, this is definitely one to pick up. This is one to show off to your friends. For the most part, the graphics are really good. It's a very fun game, 10 to 15 hours to beat it, and the story is pretty good, but the gameplay is quite fun, and it's kind of a showcase game for the Vita. So there you go. I recommend it, almost wholeheartedly, as long as you can get it cheaper than $50. Next up, Rayman Origins from Ubisoft. This is a 2D side-scrolling game. This is, I don't really want to say a port because it's not actually, well, I guess it's kind of a port. But it is the same game that just came out on many other systems at the end of last year, including, of course, the Xbox 360, the PS3, the Wii, everything else. So this is Rayman Origins. It's very beautiful. I have not actually played it. I've heard very good impressions on the graphics and on the Vita's screen, obviously with the 5-inch screen, very, very beautiful. Yeah, I think that if you're into 2D scrollers at all, if you like games that harken back to the old school a little bit, or if you just like beautiful sprites, this is a game to get. This is one of the ones that I ordered from Amazon. I'm going to go ahead and recommend this to anyone who is into games of this type, 2D scrollers. If you've already played it on the PS3, Xbox, etc., there's not really probably much need to play it here unless you loved it so much that you want to play it portably. Alright, next up we have Lumines Electronic Symphony. This is also being published by Ubisoft. This comes from Q Entertainment. I have not played Electronic Symphony, however I have played pretty much every other Lumines game under the sun. This is another one that I got in the Amazon deal because it's not coming out in Japan until April. Impressions of the game are pretty much amazing. If you've played a Lumines game before and you liked it, this is definitely one to pick up. The music list is amazing. There are a lot of tracks on there. There are also a lot of original tracks on there. The skins look nice. This is the first time that Lumines has actually been done in 3D, although you can't really tell it's 3D. It looks 2D, of course. That's the Lumines gameplay. However, the blocks are all rendered in 3D this time, so they can get some really, really nice looking effects on there. If you've played Lumines before and you like it, if you like puzzle games, or if you like games that you can get a lot of mileage out of, I would definitely recommend this one. If you think $40 is too much for it, it might be. However, this is a game that I will definitely spend. I've probably put over 100 hours into the Lumines series as a whole, so for me, it's worth the $40. And again, I got it with buy two, get one free, so it's even cheaper. And when you think about it that way, it's a must-buy. Next up, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. This is obviously coming from Capcom themselves. If you own the console game and can't really see yourself ever playing this on the go, I can't really recommend it. But what this is Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Period. The backgrounds in some of the levels are scaled back just a bit, but it's almost to the point where you don't even really notice unless you sit and stare at the backgrounds. And in a game like this with the fast-paced, high-action fighting, you won't really see the backgrounds very much. So as far as a faithful port of the console version goes, super faithful, super nice on the Vita screen. This is one of the games where when I played it for the first time on Vita, it was one of the first games I played, I just went, wow, this is on a handheld. That is amazing. It is a good game in that regard. However, with all the downloadable content, download characters and all that you have to pay extra for, that really puts me off. If you're a big fan of the game and you think you'll play it on the go, I recommend this. If you like fighting games, I can still give you my recommendation. Otherwise, yeah, maybe not, but it is a fun game. Next up, Hot Shots Golf World Invitational. This is obviously published by Sony. This is the 6th version in the mainline Hot Shots Golf games. If you like golf games, this one pretty much does everything you want it to. It starts out decently easy, gets into the blisteringly hard difficulty. There is online play here, so you can play with your friends. There's also turn-by-turn play, so I think you can even play over 3G. However, I have not tried that myself. But the golf physics themselves are incredibly tight, obviously with the 6th game. And there have been some spin-offs as well in the Hot Shots Golf series. You're going to have some pretty nice golfing physics there here, along with the zany attitude that Hot Shots Golf brings. If you like golf games at all, you can't miss on this one. If you don't like golf games, it can be fun in that kind of mini-golf sort of way, even though it's not mini-golf, it's real golf, but because it's a little zany. But if you just, if you're not into just hitting golf balls over and over and over again and trying to get them into the hole with the best score possible, it probably won't end up changing your mind. But if you like golf at all, this is pretty much a good buy. Next up, Wipeout 2048 from Sony. I've talked a lot about this one, obviously published by Sony. I've talked a lot about this one. It's a great game. If you've played Wipeouts before, I don't think you'll be disappointed. It is a little bit more of the same, however, so you might have to think about that. But the new tracks are wonderful. The game looks wonderful on the Vita screen. People have been going crazy about 30 frames per second and frame dropping and things like that. It does run at 30 frames per second, but I don't think it was that bad. I thought it was really smooth. I didn't honestly notice much lag, frame dropping, if any at all. I thought it was a very smooth experience. I played through the entire game, loved it. Loved it. There are a lot of hard challenges that will keep you coming back. Online multiplayer, a lot of fun things. I'm giving this Vita's best launch racing game. Definitely one you have to check out. So Wipeout 2048, I highly recommend it. Next up, FIFA Soccer from EA. This is not getting the FIFA Soccer 2012 treatment because it is different from the console version this year. They're saying they're trying to get it back on track for next year. However, having said that it's different from the console version, I have heard glowing things about this game. I have not played it myself. Another one that I will say I have not played myself. I'm not a big soccer fan, so even if the game is amazing, it's not really my thing. But what I hear from a lot of my friends who have played it, have purchased it, are loving it. If you like soccer, this is your game. I have a friend who said that, this, as long as it catches on kind of in the UK, people are going to be buying this up because this is kind of a big thing to have a soccer game this good on a handheld, especially this early. So pretty cool. If you're into soccer, I can say that FIFA Soccer for the Vita will get a recommendation from me, but again, that's without having played it. I've heard it does some fun things with the back touch as well regarding goalies, but I haven't seen it exactly. Anyway, I've heard it's a very good game, so check it out. Next up, ModNation Racers from Sony. This is the only game that is officially launching at $29.99 from Sony. Sony's games, the only game officially launching at $29.99. You can get some of the other ones at $29.99 if you look around, but this is the only one with the official MSRP at $29.99. A lot of backlash on this one with no online multiplayer, and that's a deal breaker for me as well. That's the reason I will not be buying this game. No online multiplayer. I like kart racers. I liked ModNation on the PS3. I think it's very fun. Not quite Mario Kart caliber, but a very fun game. Some nice things in there. The making of the tracks is awesome, and it looks very cool on the Vita. But again, if you don't have anyone around you to play with, you're going to get sick of it. So in this day and age where people have these crazy Mario Kart 7 3DS circuits that are just awesome, to release a game like this and not include online multiplayer is just suicide in my opinion. This is one that I know that they wanted to get all these games out for launch, but they probably should have held it back until they can get it in. So I'm going to say, I'm going to take a pass on this one. If you like kart racing and you don't want to play with other people online, I can give it a recommendation, but I'm going to pass on it off of principle alone on the fact that I would want to be playing with my friends and family online. Okay, next up, Ninja Gaiden Sigma Plus from Tecmo Koei. Ninja Gaiden Sigma Plus is just what it sounds. It's a port of Ninja Gaiden Sigma, which is a port of Ninja Gaiden. A port of a port. But having said that, Ninja Gaiden Sigma is a good game. Ninja Gaiden is a good game. Ninja Gaiden, of course, the Xbox game that came out in the early 2000s. This is a port of Sigma. I have not actually played Sigma, and I have not actually played this on the Vita. I did play Ninja Gaiden back in the day on the Xbox and loved it. I have heard that some of the the fundamentals of action games have kind of changed a lot since then with Devil May Cry series, Bayonetta, games like that kind of pushing the bar up, so it might feel a little bit dated. However, I loved Ninja Gaiden. I didn't play Sigma, so I am looking forward to playing this one. However, I have not actually played the Vita version yet. If you like action games, I can definitely say that you should check this one out. If you've played Sigma already, however, on the PS3, it's the same game, so unless, again, you're dying to play it portably or play it again, take a pass on this one. But yeah, if you've never played it before and you like action games, definitely a plus here. Next up, Touch My Katamari from Namco. I've heard some negative things about this game from the Japanese launch. I played it briefly. I thought as far as a Katamari game goes, it is pretty fun. You can use the back touch in this one to stretch and squish your Katamari to get them to kind of fit under certain obstacles or to go through obstacles that are don't provide much space there. So I thought as far as the gameplay goes, it was very fun. I have heard it is severely lacking content and is possibly another one of those where Namco will want you to buy a lot more of the content online, similar to Ridge Racer, which we'll get to shortly. However, that is very annoying for me, and again is the main reason that I didn't really drop any money on this one. This is one of those games that here in Japan, the launch, it came out at launch obviously here in December. This is one of the games that has dropped in price pretty dramatically since then, and I think a lot of it is just because people are sick of that kind of model. If you're going to pay so much money up front, you don't want to end up having to pay a lot more money down the line. Either release it cheaply and then have you pay more money to add on to it, or release it at normal retail price and either offer download content for free or just put it all in the game in the first place. So I can't really give a recommendation on this one unless you're a huge Katamari fan, in which case, check it out. Next up, Dynasty Warriors Next. If you're a Dynasty, again from Tecmo Koei. If you're a Dynasty Warriors fan, check this out. They just released a patch, which will be in the US game from the beginning, which includes more people on the screen at once. There is quite a bit of pop-up, but if you've played a Dynasty Warriors game before, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. With that amount of enemies, you know, up to maybe 100 or more on the screen at once, you'll see enemies popping up pretty close to you here and there. It's just the way the game is, so, you know, whether you like it or whether you don't. If you don't know what Dynasty Warriors is, you pick kind of an ancient, maybe not ancient, but a Chinese war general, and you basically go to town. You have all these specials, and you go through, and you're just killing waves and waves of army soldiers trying to get to their leader, kill their leader, and trying to take over forts, barracks, places like that. So yeah, it's as far as a big open world, not open world, a big, you know, open space goes for a war kind of game. The Dynasty Warriors games are very fun. However, if you've played them before and don't like them, this probably will not do much to change your mind. I've heard that this includes quite a bit of, this is one I've played through the demo, through 2 demos. So I thought it was very fun, but including the demo, I've heard that this has a lot of Vita controls, back touch, front touch, that just kind of seem tacked on, as they do with a lot of launch games. So if that annoys you, maybe take a pass there. I thought it was very fun. I would like to pick up the full version. I would maybe wait for a price drop on this one unless you're a big fan of the series. Next up, Little Deviants from Sony, developed by Big, who has recently been closed. This is a kind of a mini-game collection. The diversity in the mini-games is nice, however, there's not a lot of substance here. This is a game that many of you might already have because it came with the first edition bundle. I can't really recommend this game unless it takes a serious price drop or if you have young kids who will be playing it. The characters are pretty cute and kind of funky. Kids will probably dig that. As far as the kind of substance that adults look for in a game, you're not really going to find it here, especially at kind of full price. For a minigame collection, I'm going to say take a pass on this one. If it gets really cheap and you want to, you know, check out some mini games that do make good use of the Vita's features, it's kind of a fun one for that, but at full price you can't justify this. Next up we have BlazBlue Continuum Shift Extend from Axis. If you don't know what BlazBlue is, it's a 2D fighter, very beautiful game. I've played it very briefly. However, this is another one that I did order off of Amazon recently, so this will be being shipped to me. Obviously, it's been out in Japan since launch, but I got it through Amazon because it's just much cheaper that way. This is one that I wanted to buy when a price drop happened, but now that I got it in buy 2, get 1 free, definitely something that I'm looking forward to playing. This does have online multiplayer, of course. In Japan, the consensus is that BlazBlue is better than Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, but a lot of that comes down to taste. Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 just does not have a huge following here. BlazBlue has a huge following here. So if you like the BlazBlue games, definitely check it out. If you've never played one before but you like fighting games, definitely check it out. There's a cool story mode in there actually with a lot of text going on. Very nice. The sprites, the 2D, it's a beautiful game. But again, if you don't like fighting games, it's not really your thing. This kind of gets a nod for me because there aren't characters that you actually have to pay extra money for. There are downloadable costumes and stuff that cost a little bit of extra money, but you don't have to pay any money for characters. So if you like fighting games, check it out. It's a great game, great series, and the first one on Vita, obviously. Next up, Asphalt Injection from Ubisoft. I've heard some not great things about this game. I have not played it myself, however. From the name, you can obviously probably realize this is a racing game, another racing game here on the Vita at launch. This one did not garner much good praise at launch. Here in Japan, it actually got pretty negative praise. So, but again, I haven't played it, and so again, I don't know a lot about it, so I can't say too much. But it is a racing game, normal car racing game from Ubisoft. Very negative reaction from the press from launch here. So I'm going to say take a pass on it unless you know more about this game, you learn more about this game, and something about it stands out to you. However, it just, it does not seem like a very good racing game. All right. Next up, Dungeon Hunter Alliance, also from Ubisoft. I showed off a little bit about this game. It's a repetitive dungeon crawler button masher. These can be fun, and I think this one is fun. The biggest problem with this game is it's launching at $40 over there in the US. This is something I would not have ever imagined. It was a budget game here in Japan, about the equivalent of $25 or $30 here in Japan, which when a budget game is that cheap in Japan, it's usually more like $20 or $25 over in the States. So I'm very surprised that they're trying to launch this one at $40, especially when almost the exact same game can be had on the PS3 or a very similar experience on the iPhone for much, much, much cheaper. So unless you have a lot of friends that you want to get together and play with, which is fun with this one, and it does have online multiplayer, I'm going to say take a pass on this one until it's about $15, and it wouldn't surprise me if it was $15 within 6 months. It is a fun game, however. It is a repetitive game. If you're into looting games where you're just looking for the next best equipment with some kind of interesting surroundings, yeah, it's fun. It's not $40 fun unless you have a lot of friends that you're permanently going to play with. And again, I see a price drop for this game in the very, very near future, so wait for that. Next up, Shinobido 2, Revenge of Zen from Namco. I'm hearing a lot of negative things on message boards about this game, which really surprises me. This game was really well met here in Japan. If you don't know what Shinobido is, I think this is the first Shinobido game that's actually coming out in the States. Some of them have come out in Europe before. Shinobido is made by the original developers of Tenchu on the PlayStation. Tenchu was a stealth ninja game, so this kind of mixes Ninja Gaiden with Metal Gear, I guess. Something like that. More of a stealth ninja package. So this game is well reviewed here in Japan. I've played through the demo and I played a little bit of the full version, and I think it's very fun. This is one I'm going to wait for a bit of a price drop on, or see if I can get some kind of a special on it, maybe with the US launch, or just see if prices drop soon here in Japan on it. Because I think it does look like a very fun game. I think a lot of the negativity that people have been saying is coming from the graphics. The graphics aren't amazing, but from what I hear, the gameplay is tight. It's very fun. If you like stealth ninja games, I don't think you can go wrong with this one. So watch out for people saying that it's ugly or it's not a good game, especially because that's coming from people who haven't played it. This game got very good. Again, very good word of mouth here in Japan. So I think if you're looking for a stealth ninja game, you cannot go wrong with this one. People say it's one of the best in the series, so definitely check it out if you're into that kind of game. Next up, Army Corps of Hell from Square Enix. Yeah, I played it a little bit and I thought it was fun. However, reading reviews and you know, the things I've kind of gleaned from the press on this game is that it ends up very repetitive and doesn't quite go where you want it to go. This is heavy metal Pikmin, essentially, coming from Square Enix. So yeah, as the name implies, Army Corps of Hell, you're playing as these like hard-rocking, dead, you know, skeleton dudes, but in a Pikmin-style world where you amass your troops and send them into attack. Kind of similar to a real-time strategy game. So the beginning of the game I thought was pretty fun, but apparently it just doesn't really go anywhere. If Pikmin was your thing, you could definitely have some fun with it. I can't really recommend it, even just, you know, I mean, back in the day, if it had Square Enix on it or Square on it, you would know it was pretty much a quality product. But even in the last 10 years, that's definitely not the way it is anymore. I'm not saying it's not a fun game, and they've been releasing free downloadable costumes and stuff for it, which is a plus. I really like when developers do that. Even just costumes for free. Come on, nobody's really doing that anymore. So a definite plus for that. If you do like the Pikmin or slightly like the real-time strategy style gameplay, this might be up your alley, but from what I hear, as you get further in, it just kind of gets a little bit repetitive. So too bad. Maybe a game I'll check out if it gets cheaper. Maybe you should do the same. Next up, Ridge Racer, the bastard child of the PlayStation Vita launch. This is, of course, from Namco, who pretty much launches a Ridge Racer with every system launch out there. And up until not too long ago, it was pretty much a sure thing, Ridge Racer being a fun game. Here you get, in Ridge Racer, about the RID part of the Ridge Racer title. That's about the portion of the game that Namco is giving you right out of the box. I think they're going to want you to pay for the Platinum Trophy later. I'm not kidding on that. The game itself, as far as I've heard, I've played it briefly for about 5 minutes. But it includes 3 tracks and 6 cars, I believe. Which might have been cool in 1995. However, this is 2012, and that does not fly anymore, especially when they want you to keep paying money, more and more money, to get more and more of the content of the game. Again, if they wanted to release this game for $5 or $10 and then, you know, have downloadable content that eventually put the title up to $40 if you wanted it, that's one pricing structure. But for this game to be full price and then them wanting another full price to get the second half of the game, pretty ridiculous. Pretty ridiculous. On principle, I took a pass on this one. But again, if you're a hardcore Ridge Racer fan, I do know a couple of people who are really into Ridge Racer who liked it a lot. But it's the repetitive Ridge Racer formula on 3 tracks until you download more things. So, yeah, if you want a racing game and you don't mind the futuristic feel, definitely go for Wipeout. If you must have Ridge Racer, it's not the worst game ever. I'm talking about physics, car, as far as a car racing game goes. But content-wise and the whole principle behind the whole thing that Namco's doing, definite pass on this one. Yeah, I think it's got about a one star out of 5 on the PlayStation Network here in Japan with over 1,000 votes. So people are not into that, Namco. Next up, F1 2001. THQ. If you didn't know, this is an F1 racing game. Again, not much to say about this one. I haven't played it. It's an up port of a 3DS game where they made the tires look more shiny and everything else looks like shit, essentially. I've seen the game in motion, through a download video. Again, I haven't played it. Game looks terrible. It looks really bad. It's an up port of a 3DS game, and the game might look decent on the 3DS, but when you stretch it out onto the Vita screen and all you do is make the tires look more shiny, yeah, this is a game that's garnered much hatred from many people, similar to Asphalt Injection. So I can't really recommend this to anyone. If you really like F1 games, again, maybe check it out, but I can't recommend this one. Next up, Ben 10 Galactic Racing, coming from D3. This is honestly a game I don't know anything about, so I read a little bit about it in order to talk about it here in the video. I believe this is coming out at $30. This is a game that's a multi-platformer. It's already out on many systems, including the PS3, the Wii, the Xbox. This is a kart racer, a galactic kart racer. The games that are already out garnered very average review scores. If you have young children who are into kind of zany kart games with a galactic setting, maybe, but the thing that caught my eye was that the PS3, the Xbox, and the Wii versions can already be had on Amazon for $11, so why spend $30 on this unless you really need it on the go? I'm going to consider that pretty much a pass, simply because those games are already out there for $11. Come on. Yeah. Same treatment actually kind of goes for Rayman Origins as well. If you want, you can probably find it for cheaper than you'll get it for on the Vita. With buy 2, get 1 free though, maybe not quite, but I think this game can be had on the other systems for about $20 instead of $40 MSRP on the Vita. So just another note there about Rayman Origins. And finally, the last one, last but not least, but maybe least actually, is Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, Lord. You can see where my mind is at. It's not anywhere near Michael Jackson, The Experience from Ubisoft. Sorry, I'm a pretty big basketball fan, so go to Michael Jordan. Anyway, Michael Jackson, The Experience. This is another game that is a port of a game that's already out on a bunch of systems. Again, a very average musical experience. I have not actually played it. I've watched videos on it. If you're a huge Michael Jackson fan, like a huge Michael Jackson fan, and you haven't played it for any other systems, and you feel the need to spend a little more to have it on Vita, again, kind of similar to Ben 10 Galactic Racing, maybe check it out. Otherwise, yeah, it's a very average, from what I hear, a very average rhythm game. Yeah, maybe not really worth checking out there. Okay, that's all of them. Wow, all 21 titles. And I think I might have gotten them all into 60 seconds or less, maybe not. Again, kind of the passers: Michael Jackson, Ben 10, F1, Ridge Racer, probably Dungeon Hunter Alliance, Asphalt Injection, Little Deviants. Yeah, those are probably pretty passable. As for the rest of them, there's definitely a market for most of the rest of these games out there. If you are into these kind of games, definitely check them out. Again, there are a couple games that I can just recommend for anyone. Uncharted, Lumines, Wipeout. I can recommend those to pretty much anyone because they are very fun games. Yeah, you can't really go wrong with them. So check those out. Check out my other videos on a lot of these games if you haven't yet, because you can get a lot more info there. I just wanted to do a roundup, and there it is. That's the roundup. All 21 launch games. And again, check the links below for links to sales on Amazon, because you can get a lot of these cheaper that way, which is pretty cool. You might be able to add an extra game or two to your collection on launch day. For those of you who already have your Vitas, I hope you're enjoying them. For those of you who are getting your Vitas soon, I hope that you're getting very excited, because there's a lot of fun things to do on the Vita. Check out 3 or 4 more videos hopefully coming this week from me. Mostly gameplay videos, however, I will also have the blog up. So look back for that. Hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you are getting excited, and we'll see you soon.